Hey, welcome back to episode 3 of my Raw Nationals prep series. In this video are the last 2 days of week 2 in my prep. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing bad days in training. A lot of who work out or train experience bad days, so it's really not just powerlifters in training. And a lot of my athletes experience bad days, I experience bad days, and a lot of people just discuss bad days in general whenever it kind of happens. Bad days are normal, but for some, they experience them in several ways, and depending on the perspective that one has on these quote-unquote bad days, generally reflect the outcome of the day itself and the training week, and even sometimes the entirety of the block. Understanding bad days are critical for long-term progression and general mindfulness of strength training. Well, first we kind of have to understand what is a bad day and why we call it a bad day. The qualitative ideas of a bad day in training are usually described as like feeling weak or technique kind of just feeling off in general. It's like say like the squat is just not feeling good. Like say for me example, my squat just hasn't been feeling good. Feeling tired and failing a rep on some odd days, or just in general just like not feeling 100% in the gym. And with anything and not just strength training, bad days happen all the time, but it's the reflection of this bad day that kind of needs to be addressed. Most people have bad days and typically panic. For a powerlifter, sometimes a bad day just means doom. It's kind of just like the end. This sometimes leads to a lot of negative outcomes because poor training attitude, because it kind of just leads to poor training attitude in general. But like the things that I mentioned before, the idea of feeling weak, technique feeling off, or just feeling tired can lead down a tunnel of like negative ideas. Lifters are usually going to start asking themselves like, maybe my program sucks, maybe my training sucks, maybe my technique needs to change completely, or sometimes they just think they're bad powerlifters. What happens here is just like a fit of second guessing rather than just admitting an off day. But in my opinion, it's really a great opportunity to reflect and understand the scenario. In most cases, none of the things I described are genuinely happening. Sometimes a bad day is simply just a bad day, and there are reasons for this, and they're just kind of out of your control on that day. Instead of going down a tunnel of negative ideas, look and reflect upon the things that are more controllable that actually may have led to the bad day. So I would start to consider rest, consider work outside of the gym, consider number of hours of sleep. Did I overshoot on training on some days? Did I go balls to the wall too early? Am I eating enough? Am I eating too much? There's really a lot of things that more accurately equate to poor training performance. A common trend I see in powerlifting is the immediate need for immediate gratification. Having the correct answers yesterday rather than later, and having the solutions as soon as possible. In my opinion, bad days are good and they ground me. I typically have bad days because I made poor decisions outside of training, whether it be under eating, under recovering, or just not enough sleep. Basically just being an irresponsible athlete. The only time I really suffer in training is at the start of a training cycle where I kind of choose weights that are too heavy, too early, and it kind of makes me feel shot early on, and I don't give myself an opportunity for my strength to sort of catch up, especially if I'm not doing anything. Sort of like in this situation. And I've learned to accept that. I am training a little too hard, too heavy, too soon. And I was basically not doing much beforehand. So I'm kind of dialing it back and just trying to make good decisions as far as weight prescription. Overall, bad days are good, and they don't necessarily mean the end. And a lot of people have to understand that. Don't try to reinvent the wheel when things start to go awry out of nowhere. And you need to begin trusting the process and make good decisions in and out of training. You can't really control everything, but the small efforts in between are what really develop continued success. That's really it this week. Just touching on bad days because I know it's been a topic of issue with some of my clients and a lot of other people around the strength training world. So other than that, that's really it for this kind of episode of my Raw Nationals Prep Series. I'll check in with you guys soon.